Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Another step of progress has been made on the house, so I'll get into the details of that. And before I do, I said on the last video that I would share the garden with you, so I'll do a little tour of that with you now. So as you step out of the kitchen on the side, you see the neighbour's house straight away, and the previous owners, as you can see, they've painted it green. I don't know if they've asked the permission of the neighbour next door, but they wouldn't know, would they? So I think it's just a standard. We've checked it because this is our private side entrance into the garden, which just essentially, as you can see, just runs alongside the house. But we won't be keeping that. We'll change that. And then you can see Rob's good work here. It's looking good. But then we've got a little patch. It's got a little sort of size for us to maintain. But what will happen is, obviously, once we get the extension done, it'll sort of obviously align with the back here. And then we'll keep the side entrance so that you can walk into the garden still from the front. And then the previous owners had a little shed which we'll get rid of. And they had this area here at the back, as you can see. So we are west facing, so we tend to get the sun here down the side. And then obviously when we get later into spring, summer, and the sun becomes higher, more of the garden then gets sort of lit up by the sun. So it's a little bit odd that they've put the seating area there because the sun always sort of stays here. But to show you some of the previous work, I don't know if they had builders before because there was loads of like helmets and stuff left over that we had to get rid of, but I think they've just literally like stuffed all their crap underneath the decking that they did, which is now fallen to bits. You can see it's just sort of made from breeze block and cement and bits of wood, so we'll literally be knocking all that out and then put in a nice sort of seating area here, and then just show you the back as well of the property. So this all sort of makes sense when I show you the plans, but obviously extending out here, single story. We're going to widen the window width a little bit more and have that running all the way down to the floor, and then also having doors here on the side that run all the way down too, and then on the top it'll just all be glass as well, so actually letting a lot of light into the garden as the sun just starts to, into the garden, into the dining room as the sun comes round. But yeah, we'll end up putting in some slatted fences as well, I think, just to help with privacy. So we need to just do a bit of maintenance work on the wall at the back, putting the slatted fences, putting some nice climbers and plants on there, as well as just on the sides as well, just to give a little bit more privacy. Not too sure in terms of keeping any grass, so we'll see how we feel at the time, but definitely a nice eating area, and you can get a barbecue going and things like that at the back. So that's the garden. I also meant to add on that as well, that in terms of the extension, what we're planning on doing is actually getting rid of all the render. And I know a lot of people will think, oh gosh, but what if you find what's underneath, and obviously if you're going to be damaging bricks, but just to show you, it's not been done necessarily very well. I know you can just paint it, but I really don't like the look of it either. We've got some on the side of the house that'll stay, but of course you don't really see that unless you're walking down the side. But on the back, we'd love to go back to brick, so that's the plan. So obviously this wall will come out, You'll still have the upper bits that we'll need to redo, like there's random pipes coming out of the building as well. Just get the guttering all redone as well as we do that. Obviously new drainage we'll need to do, and I'll go through everything, what we do on the extension and what's involved there, because I haven't got a clue, so I'm learning as well as we go along. So that's our little patch at the back. We had a spell of nice weather in the UK, so we used that as a bit of an excuse to put tools down inside and spend a little bit of time outside. Rob was absolutely loving life, clearing the patio with a jet washer that he borrowed from his parents. Every time it rained, it was absolutely lethal because it was just so slippery with the amount of grime on it, so it's been good to get rid of that, and we found a little message as we did that as well. For anyone who's not in the UK or you've not seen the programme, it essentially was a team that came into somebody's house and they renovated or decorated it within sort of like 72 hours, or just a really quick time frame. I posted a picture on my socials, just joking, saying that every botch job that I find in the house, I'm going to blame on the team going forward. And then I started to get loads of comments back like, yeah, did they actually turn up at your house? Did they actually work on it? Because they used to do that, put that little message somewhere in the house. And as I say, I just did it as a joke, obviously wasn't serious about it, but then it starts to creep in your psyche and you think, no, surely not, they haven't been round. Especially with all the botch jobs that you can see around the house, I'll be calling the BBC for some compensation. But long story short, I looked through the archives and actually saw that it was in the area during that time, but turns out it was a different house, so yeah, BBC safe. As you saw, we had all that old decking in the corner of the garden, so Rob did a really good job of ripping that all out. Had loads and loads of nails in it, just trying to keep it all together, so yeah, it took a little bit of time and me standing on it and him trying to pull me along the garden with it. But yeah, we got there in the end and then got everything in the skip. Underneath it we saw 2 tree stumps, so we'll have to remove that. Because that place is shaded, I'd ideally put the shed somewhere there, so we'll have to level it out. And then I think I say it on the GoPro as I show you the garden, we're not really going to do a lot to the garden because obviously when the trades come in it's going to get wrecked when we do the extension, but it is nice to sit outside with our little bargain B&M £40 bistro table when the sun does come out. It is just a bit nicer to sit out with the grass obviously cut and it just being maintained a little bit. So yeah, we cut the grass and then we de-weeded it a little bit and yeah, just sort of spent a few sort of lunches and afternoons sitting out and enjoying the sun that we had for about 2 or 3 days. And can I just say, I'm really conscious that all my clips are over Rob doing work. I've had all my mates saying, do you do any work? Yeah. When the camera's not on, I promise that I'm getting stuck into. So back to the inside of the house, we changed tactics when we were trying to get the plaster off in the dining room. We drilled and we drilled and we drilled, but we still cannot get that sort of really thick bit of plastering and concrete at the bottom. So we'll just have to wait for the builders to come in and do that. The plan is to keep the living room as a snug, so we started to get a few bits and bobs for that, including this beautiful cast iron radiator that I absolutely love. Almost broke our backs trying to get it into the house, but yeah, we've got it in there safely. One of the big jobs that we got done, which I was really happy about, was that we got the roof all done. So 2 chimneys rebuilt, got all the missing slates put back, guttering all replaced at the front, all the ridges done as well. We also put in some ventilation slates as well, because when we do the electrics we're going to put a PIV unit into the loft as well, just to help with the air circulation in the house, because with these old buildings it's really important to try and help it, and it just stops any sort of condensation issues and things like that. Since the summer we've had snow, we've had rain, and yeah, fingers crossed, no leaks. And then once we had the chimneys all done, we were excited to open up the fireplaces. So we'll start to do the others, and we were going to do the dining room one, but as you can see, it needs a little bit of support, so we'll get the proper equipment in to do that. The reality is that we're still trying to get trades as well. So it's, for example, we've had some quotes, like they've come round, they've been really good. We thought, yeah, I really want to go forward with you guys. And they've said, oh, is May fine? And you think, oh yeah, that's great. And they're like, no, just to be clear, May 2022. And you're like, okay. So yeah, we'll try and get a few more quotes, see if anybody can do things earlier, but otherwise it might just be a waiting game because everyone seems to be doing work on their house at the moment. It's a little bit frustrating because you just obviously want to get on with things, but just take our time, make sure we get the right people in for the job. And in the interim, I've given myself some upcycle projects to get on with, so that'll keep me entertained for the time being. I'll be back with some more progress soon, hopefully, and I'll also show you what I'm doing with my little projects, my little upcycle projects, so make sure you subscribe to see those, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!